Alright, the first step is to open up your 3D software of choice. Mine is Blender. I'm using version 4.1.1. This is the software I'm going to be using to render images. So, we are not going to make the Lego models straight in Blender. We're going to use a software called Studio. It is a 3D Lego building program. It's free. You can download it online. I'm going to open it up. Studio 2.0. Okay. Alright, so once you've opened it, you'll see this. And you can build your own model with all the parts that they give you. You can just design something, whatever you want. So I'm not actually going to be making my own models. I'm going to take another model made by someone else. So I'm going to go to this website called Bricklink. It's where a lot of people post their models made in Studio. So I'm going to go zeldafan. He's pretty cool. Makes like sci-fi models using it. I'm going to take his newest model. It's pretty cool. So now that you've downloaded the model, you're going to take this and just leave it there for now. And now what we're going to do is, see, you can't import .io files. That's the file format from Studio. You have to convert it to something like an FBX OBJ or STL. So what I use is actually another website called mechabricks.com, or yeah, it's another online building program. You could build your models in here if you wanted, or just download something from here as well. Do that. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to go to the workshop tab. It's very similar to the Studio workspace. You can just build something, but what we're going to do is we're going to go to File, Import. We're going to do LDraw, look for the file, open it up. So here it is, it's in here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go to File, and we're going to export. And you can export Collada files from Studio itself, but I found Collada files tend to crash Blender for me, which is kind of annoying. So I'm actually going to switch it to OBJ. And logos on studs, and export. Now, once your model is downloaded, it'll give you a zip file up here. So I'm just going to open it. I'm going to use WinRAR to unzip it. And now, if you open it up, you're going to see you have an OBJ model right here. So I'm just going to extract it to my document. That's good. And to close this up. And now we're going to head over to Blender. So first, I'm just going to delete everything, the default cube, and I'm going to go to File, Import. I'm going to use Wavefront OBJ. And yes, it will import quite large. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scale it down so it's a more manageable size. And this is pretty much it. If all you wanted to know is how to bring it into Blender, you can leave now, but I'm going to work on texturing it and making it look good and making a cool render with it. So to import it, you're going to notice that there's some awful shading over here. If you go into edit mode, you're going to see the topology here is absolutely horrendous. This is nothing you would use for like production, but it's okay. If you just press A, select everything, and right click shade smooth, it will look much better. You can still see a few artifacts, but it looks so much better. It's gonna look fine. And in animation, it's gonna be moving and everything, so you're gonna be fine with this. And once you have this, you're going to see that if you were gonna switch your render into cycles, GPU, you shall see that we have no lights, but there are no materials. There are actual materials, but there are just blank white materials. So you will need to go through and add some materials. So the model for this is very simple textures. So I'm going to use Blender's default sky texture as our background. Just going to change a few settings that I always change. I always change these settings. So we can just stick the material preview for now. Pull up the bottom tab, make it shader editor. And now, just keep it simple. There's just a few pieces. I'm gonna separate this. Last BSDF, pretty simple. Just plug into surface, turn on roughness, cycles just to see how it looks. It looks pretty good. And now we're gonna select all the pieces that have this material, have the glass material on them. Select this piece, Control L, link materials. So now I'm just gonna go through and take everything that has a different material, just change some of the color values. So that's basically, I mean, they just have the antenna, you know. Some very simple shaders, nothing really fancy. You could play around with some different things, but that is really it. And you could just switch into rendered view, and that's kind of it. But that's not really creating a render. That's just texturing and importing it. So now what we're gonna do is make a nice little scene for this. All right, I'm gonna add a cube. Move it up a little. So I can just scale it up a bit more. Tab into edit mode. Go to inset this. Delete the face. Just to make a simple window sort of thing. If we tab out and go into this, but for now this will work. So I'm basically gonna get a material for this. I have this add-on installed called Blender Kit. It's free, it's awesome. Has hundreds, thousands of materials, great materials. I'm gonna just search for wood, and it's gonna give me quite a few results. And you can scroll for a long time and not find anything, and not like run out of material ideas, because like there are so many. And now you can basically, you just get the material. I like to change a few things, a few settings. I'm gonna look at the scale. You can see that if you go into material preview, all I do is I just change the mapping. I don't know why this is value here. I always get rid of it. I usually do that, and it'll fill anyway. So, and now I can just move it up a little. Basically, you can just camera, control numpad 0. Seems good. Now let's start setting some render settings. So I'm gonna switch it to our tab. I'm gonna let's give us like 300 samples. So I'm gonna go into the camera settings and turn on depth of field. And I'm gonna set the focus object as just like something random, like, I don't know, this. And turn down the stops just to get like an idea of what it looks like. Here, if we go into this view, we can kind of see, you know, you have to turn on depth of field, of course, like that, so you can kind of see what you're focusing on. That seems good. So yeah, it's a bit high for depth for f-stops. Just gonna change the stop a little. Here is the render I did. As you can see, it's pretty realistic. It looks, in my opinion, almost comparable to a real picture of a Lego model. I mean, it is a bit noisy because I didn't denoise it, but that was on purpose because I like that little feel of camera noise, because a lot of cameras, lower end cameras, have camera noise, and it looks pretty good. I mean, I just changed some of the focal length and a few settings, just added some basic materials, and the same with the textures. You can see right here, pretty good texture. I really like it. It's one of my favorite wood textures. And that's pretty much it. And thanks for watching.